If you are one of those users that used to work with Revit and Tekla simultaneously, or you may have to work with them sequentially according to your needs, so it may happen to you that you were working on a project in Tekla, and then you needed to export the file to Revit in order to coordinate the disciplines of mechanical installations or architectural disciplines and others. I'm sure that you used to export your file as IFC file type, since as you know, IFC is a file type which is accepted and supported by the softwares, so it lets you to transfer your files among the softwares. But in this episode, I want to convert this Tekla file to a model into Revit. So to do this, you are required to use Tekla integration. The plugin of Tekla integration is developed for Tekla Structural Designer, and it is not necessarily for just Tekla. You can find this plugin in Designer automatically, but right now we're working with Tekla and we want to transfer this file to Revit, or vice versa. You may want to transfer your file from Revit to Tekla. So I'm gonna explain the steps of transferring your files. So you're required to download and install Tekla integration on your Revit software that I have already installed it. So firstly, you should download it and then have it installed. Then let us do the transferring. Firstly, application, export, and then I here click on Tekla Structural Designer. I click on it, then I click on OK. Then the window of export to Tekla Structural Designer will be shown. Then here I specify the grids and the model objects that I want them to be exported. Then we specify the export file path. I click on it, then I define the file path. Anyway, you should click on export, then wait for a second, or we wait for the export process to be done. But since I have exported one time, overwrite message was shown. Then I close the window. Then I get back to Revit. Then I open the structural template file. Then here I click on Integrator for Structural Designer. I click on it and then Tekla Structural Designer will be shown. I click on Next. Then here if you wanted to export your model geometry or file from Revit, you can click on the top one. But right now we want the model to import into Revit. So we're gonna use the bottom option. As you can see, import model into Revit. Then I click on first time import. But note that if you have imported your file for one time and you just want to update the existing model, you should check update existing model. Next, then wait for a second. Here I should browse and then select the file to open it. Open, and then I click on next. Here as you can see, the files have been checked that we need to import them. I click on next. Then in the next part, we can create some mapping files. Like here we can change some files that you have made some modifications in Tekla, or you can save the names and just import them by the same names or details, like the structural column types, structural framing types, materials, and so on, that you can modify them. But I'm gonna consider the default mode. I click on Finish. But note that if the objects or the types of the materials were not recognized, you should add the types or the objects separately actually. Then the libraries that I have added them before, they are being imported them. As you can see, the model is being converted, so we wait for the process to be done. Here as you can see, section mapping, we got 35, 68, that each of them are converted to a file in Revit. So please wait for a second, the model is being completed. Here as you can see guys, the process is finished. So we close the window and then I set it to shaded visual style. I zoom in to check out the model. And here, as you can see, the sections of the profiles haven't been correctly specified or defined, but it is not a big problem, since we can resolve it and insert load family, and then here we can select the profile like C channel, and then I specify the types that I want them to be loaded. I specify the dimensions, and then I import them. I select one of them, right click, select all instances, entire project, and then in the type selector I specify the newly loaded type, and then it will be replaced with the other ones. So guys, by this way we imported the Tekla file from Tekla to Revit, and you can even change the materials. You can select which one you want and then change them, which is totally depends on your needs actually, but it simplifies the process of transferring files from Tekla to Revit or vice versa.